Welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Monica Schorn, and I am the festival coordinator here at the Environmental Film Festival in the nation's capital. I'm very happy to welcome you to our post-screening discussion for Hidden Wild. We have with us today the director, Neil Losin, or I guess co-director.
Hi, Monica.
Neil
Thanks for
Losin.
having me.
And we've got one of the subjects, one of our very expeditioneers, Kiana Emilcar. Thank you both so much for joining us. It's amazing to see you out of the woods.
We made it.
We're so fortunate to have you both. And it's excellent to have both the subject in front of the camera and our director behind the camera. Quite clearly, this was an effort of great collaboration. Do you mind just setting us up, telling us how these opportunities came to you? Neil, with Days Edge Films, your production company, and Kiana, how was this presented to you? How was this opportunity in your lap?
So this opportunity actually arose almost like a year ago, obviously, but I actually had a teacher reach out and send me an email saying that he nominated me to, apply for this and be a part of it. So I took it upon myself to go, do the video entry where basically I would state, why I wanted to be there, what made me want to be a part of this excursion. And yeah, just a simple video. It was 1 minute, and I sent the video in, and within 2 weeks I got a response that I got the interview, and then one thing led to another, and I was out in the wild. So that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah. So the steps that transpired before we even sent out the call for applicants for our student expeditioners were that the masterminds of this project was the Palm Beach County Department of Environmental Resource Management. And they had a collaboration for many years with the Palm Beach County Public Schools, getting educational materials into the schools about ecology and environmental science, focusing on the wild spaces of Palm Beach County. And it's a great partnership because Palm Beach County does have really rich natural resources. It's something you might not realize if you just look at the tourism brochures for Palm Beach County, which often focus on, I think, the resort kind of experience. And Palm Beach County Public Schools is one of the largest public school districts in the country. So, but they really wanted to modernize the resources that they were providing to the schools. And so they contacted us and inquired about doing an expedition film that was a little different from most expedition films in that it would feature high school students, regular high school students from the Palm Beach County school system. And so we set about, recruiting the lucky three who would come with us on this expedition and hopefully have an experience that would stick with them for a long time.
And was there a certain kind of subject you were looking for? I mean, clearly it was 7 days in the Florida wilderness will be a compelling journey, but what were you kind of looking to see in the applicants and the subjects?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the phrases that got passed around quite a bit as we were looking for the right applicants was not an Eagle Scout. And what we meant by that was, no specific prejudice against, Eagle Scouts, but just that we wanted people who were curious and motivated to learn more about the outdoors, but who didn't have a tremendous amount of, wilderness experience under their belt already. We wanted to be able to capture an experience that was new for the people that were on the expedition. And so we ended up with a great trio of students, Kiana, Kourtez, and Noah, who had, varying levels of outdoor experience, but nobody was, an experienced, master outdoors person.
Speaking of not an Eagle Scout, we've got Noah Langley joining us now. Noah, thank you so much. How did this opportunity come to you? When you read that call for applicants, you immediately compelled? Were you a little bit hesitant? What was that story like for you joining the production?
So my way of joining the production was my teacher, Miss Clausen. She had, I think she had gotten the first email or whatever from everybody, and her way to do it was she had us write an essay, why we think we'd be a good candidate, and I think she already had a few people in mind, and I think she did elect a few people in my class, but we all had, only a few of us did it, chose to actually write an essay, and I was hesitant at first because you're thinking like, I'm not gonna get chosen to do this awesome thing. Like that's like a dream come true. Like that'd be crazy. And I was like, you know what? Let's try it. I wrote my little essay, turned it to her, so she supported me and elected me from her class. And then they had us do, of course, our video assignment. And me and my dad worked really hard on my little audition tape, and had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, it was a super surprise. And then I was a little hesitant, but I'm very glad that I got selected. It's crazy. It's crazy to find out that even like that first phase, you're like, oh snap, she liked my essay, or like they liked my essay. It's crazy. That's a great feeling.
That was one of my follow-up questions. I'm sorry, Neil, go ahead.
I was just going to say it was really fun reviewing these short kind of audition videos, because they are all really different. They ranged from, Kiana immediately came off as very polished and very confident on camera, and Noah took a really different approach with his. It was very humorous. Had footage of him, I think, falling off his kayak into the lake and stuff like that. And then Kourtez, our other expeditioner, had an absolutely hilarious video that was sort of like almost a series of non sequiturs. At one point, he was like inside a dumpster talking about recycling. It was crazy, but we really got to see the personality of the applicants, and it helped us choose the crew for our trip.
And then once it came time to actually, start filming and start this expedition, Kiana and Noah, it's a very vulnerable thing being outside of your comfort zone, let alone being recorded being outside of your comfort zone. Did it ever feel kind of too vulnerable, or you just wish you kind of could experience it on your own? What was that rapport like with the camera crew?
Wait, who goes first? Wait.
I was like, Kiana, did you want to go? Or?
You could go first.
Yeah, it's fine. It takes a little getting used to, but it's nice because we had those other students with us also getting used to it at the same time. Like that first day was like pretty funny. Like we're all trying to you're trying to walk in a straight line, but you're like, for some reason that voice in your head, you're telling yourself, you better be walking the straight line. You better look cool walking the straight line. You gotta walk the straight line good and look at all these trees, and so you're taking looks over your shoulder, trying not to look at the camera. So, you get used to it though. And I think because we've started to make form friendships and stuff with the crew and everything, by the second day, there wasn't really as much nervousness or anything like that. It was just interesting, I guess.
I want to welcome Kourtez Davidson, who's joined us. We've now got all three expeditioners here with us. Kourtez, thank you so much. So Kiana, yes, for you as well, was there that kind of getting used to the chemistry of the expedition? Were there moments where you wish you could have just experienced this for the first time on your own, or were you aware generally that the camera was there?
I generally was aware that there was a camera recording me, but I didn't really think much of it because the crew was very welcoming and they were all really supportive and helpful. And honestly, I didn't even realize the cameras were there. Like the only time that I would really know there'd be a camera would be if they'd tell us to do it over again. So we would, go all the way back, with the kayaking or the walking, can we do this one more time? Okay, can we do this one more time? We would go back and forth just to, make sure that everything's polished and, ready. But I had a good experience. It all kind of hit me when I was actually in this swamp area. I was like, oh wow, I'm actually not home. I'm in a completely different environment. So it was all really cool, and I didn't really have a problem with that. Generally.
Kourtez, we were just talking about obviously the experience of being out of your comfort zone, not only in the wilderness, but on camera as well. Was that kind of difficult for you to navigate, or you seemed very at ease with the camera from the very first night?
No, it only brought difficulty to me because, I forgot that they had cameras and equipment and, redoing shots would have to be a thing. Otherwise, I thought I was just going on a journey, through the wilderness because I camp a lot. Basically, I felt like I was in my natural element because I was outside where I like to be most of the time. And it just felt like I was going camping with friends during the whole trip. Otherwise, the cameras didn't really bother me the whole time.
And Neil, we've had a number of your films here at the festival. Clearly you're quite used to shooting out in the field, whether it's Africa or Miami. Was there anything different about preparation for this shoot, for this production?
Yeah, an expedition shoot is always more challenging just because there's no home base, right? And so you don't have the same place to charge your batteries and, back up your data at the end of the day and all that sort of stuff. So that added an extra logistical challenge. Luckily, the folks at Palm Beach County ERM did a phenomenal job of organizing the logistics of this. This was not an unsupported wilderness expedition where we, headed into the bush and then didn't see anybody for 7 days. We saw our crew, our support crew every day. At the end of the day, they would bring us, food for cooking, and they'd bring us some of our supplies and resupply our snacks and stuff like that. And of course, that made things just so much easier, knowing that we had options. If something broke, we could send them to a camera store if we needed to. Luckily, that didn't happen. But that we were never too far from civilization, and the logistics team really made it much easier to deal with all the challenges.
And then there's so much of this film that kind of challenges the stories we tell about ourselves. I'm curious for Kiana, Noah, and Kourtez, has it changed the way that you relayed your relationship to the Florida around you? Do you kind of see your neighborhood, see your cities in different ways than you did previously?
Wait, can I go first?
Please.
Oh, okay. Well, it definitely changed my outlook on life in general, because generally speaking, I enjoy being in the city. I like being around multiple people. I like busy streets. I like Miami. I like going out with my friends, dressing up. So a lot of people thinking like, oh, she went on a camping trip. Like that's like unheard of, because not many of my friends would think, like, they were like, you're going where? Like, what are you doing? Because a lot of my friends, they know that I enjoy speaking about, global warming and the earth and all that, but they never thought that I would really go there. So definitely I learned a lot when I actually was in this different environment, because I've never went camping in my life. So, I actually learned to appreciate nature more. And I faced a lot of fears on this trip, including with bugs and all that, because, I'm a girl and like some of us don't really like bugs like that. But I actually faced my fears, and I learned to appreciate, even the smallest creatures. And I learned a lot on the trip. So it definitely showed me how interconnected everything is, because without, these environments, we generally speaking would not get certain things like oxygen and, even just the trees. So I learned to appreciate way more. I appreciated it more.
And if I can say something, I think what I found interesting is like I say like the tangibility to learn something new and like to catch new eyes, like was something I saw that was really, really cool. Like even myself, like it didn't take 7 days, for us to be like, oh, this is lovely stuff. Like I love being out here. Like this is amazing. It took like an hour. It took an hour to be out there. It kind of tells you, it teaches me and this film, like it only takes an hour of time. You can take someone new out to like the real nature of Florida and be like, this is what we got. Isn't this awesome? And they're going to be like, yeah, this is awesome. That's all, that like tangibility to show people that, how making it feel possible that we can protect the things that seem almost like are seemingly harder to protect every day, like because people forget about it, and like the concrete jungle is starting to outgrow the real jungles. So it's like, but that tangibility for people to learn, kind of, and all it takes is them to be out there or even be shown it in a certain way, I think was really awesome.
For me, I personally love the outdoors, but I never really grasped the idea of that it would only take me 30 or 40 minutes to walk somewhere and then it would seem like I'm in a whole different country or I'm out in the wilderness. And that still amazes me to know that the place I love and where I'd love to be is, only that far away. And I could show people that, and I could tell myself that, if I need to relax or do anything, all I need to take is a 20-minute walk, and, I'm back in the wilderness. And, seeing that instead of being pent up in my room all day, or, seeing stores everywhere, it's a calming feeling, seeing nature in its natural element and seeing how things function out there.
Has that changed at all for any of you over the last year? I think a lot of people are feeling both contained to their home, and suddenly they have a little bit more time to venture outside and be a little bit more unconventional with how they relate to the world around them.
Personally, it didn't change much because, I love staying in my room, but I also love going outside and taking walks every now and then. So I try to keep a balance, a healthy balance every now and then, a nice little walk and, unplugging from the internet. But, classes demand me to be there. So it's becoming tighter. That's the only thing that's changed for me.
I also wanted to add that Kourtez is absolutely right. I feel the same way, and finding that balance is really a struggle, especially when, we have to deal with the screen time and all that. And, it didn't really change for me. I still go out like in the outside and I go running. So I do still experience, the outside, but it's definitely a struggle with, the pandemic going on.
Yeah, it's like they said, it's different. And it's not as easy to go outside with people. Like I've been this year actually. I've gone back into skateboarding really hard, and it's just like when I'm out there skateboarding, it's just you don't see as many people, and that's just kind of strange. But of course, that's just a given, and it's just kind of strange. And people kind of look, I don't know, people like there's not many people like on the sidewalks and doing outside stuff, but that's a given though. That's just how it is. But yeah, it's a little different. But there's still time to, of course, go outside, and I think that's nice. And I'm glad that there's still people that do that, and then I still have the time to do that as well.
And by the time people are watching this, we'll have daylight savings time back, so we'll have that extra hour.
Exactly, need that extra hour. Gotta have that extra hour.
I'd like to ask all of you, or especially Neil, about the release of the film and the reception you've seen. Has there been much of a difference between the feedback you get maybe from peers versus other young people versus, how far released has this film been?
So we did an initial broadcast through South Florida PBS. And that was a few weeks before the online release of the film through our equipment partner, NRS. So NRS and Pelican Paddle Sports have both contributed equipment to the expedition, which was invaluable, given all the watery terrain we had to traverse. And NRS coordinated that online release. We've gotten some great feedback online, but to me, the most exciting part has actually been we did a screening before the PBS broadcast, a virtual screening with a bunch of teachers, science teachers from Palm Beach County Public Schools, and including some of the teachers who actually nominated these students to join the expedition. And so seeing their reactions when they saw their former students, put into this expedition context and having these adventures and thriving out there in nature, and then also imagining how they could use these films or Hidden Wild as a whole film, or also we broke it into 3 shorter films to be used in classrooms, how these resources could be used in their classroom, and how they could show their students these adventures that their actual students had in these places that are so close to their homes. That was really exciting to see the teachers react to that. That was the most rewarding for me so far. And then so far we've had some promising signs on the film festival front. Obviously, having it here at the Environmental Film Festival in DC, as well as a handful of others, and and lots more submissions to come. So we're really optimistic about getting this story out to as many people as we can.
And Kiana, Noah, and Kourtez, how long did it take before people started turning to you and saying, aren't you that guy? Didn't I see you on?
I actually, a day after one of the interviews, I was on, I think, the Palm Beach Post. My IB coordinator, one of them, she actually emailed me and she said, "Is this you?" And I said, "Yes, that is me." So then, you know, she went actually on our school accounts, like our Instagrams and our Twitter, and she posted about it. So a lot of my peers contacted me and they said, "Oh, did you do this? You know, how was your experience?" And I told them, you know, it was a great experience. You know, I let them know what it was. And so I had a lot of friends and family that went to go watch it. Especially when it was on YouTube, I sent the link to my best friend and her whole family watched it. And I got a lot of positive feedback. And they all said, you know, I didn't even know that was here. Like, I didn't know that was, you know, this, that, and so on. So they were really surprised to see this was in our backyard, and this was like not even an hour away from where they live. And it was amazing. I actually watched it with one of my friends as well, and I've gotten nothing but positive, you know, feedback.
For me, nothing really. Well, personally, I bragged about it as fast as I could when I came back to my friends, you know, because I loved being there. You know, also I got to brag that I got a whole week of school off. You know, I found that hilarious. Plus, while we were recording, my school decided to broadcast it on their news channel that they do every morning to the whole school, and I didn't know that yet. And then my friends, you know, didn't tell me that, so that was embarrassing, you know, because everyone already knew that I was there, and then me bragging about it like 3 days later really threw me for a loop, because I was expecting some people outside of my class that my science teacher didn't already tell them to be surprised, and they weren't. And then I learned that my school, you know, did such a nice thing of, you know, showing it to everybody, and I was actually pretty glad about that. But then, you know, people were still talking about it 2 weeks later, which, you know, was surprising because I thought it would die down by now. But yeah, it was a surprising experience, to say the least, about the film.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been like recognized cold off the street yet. But it's nice. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's because you shaved the beard, man. You just
Yeah.
got to grow the beard back, and people
I know, I gotta
recognize
grow
you.
that beard, gain a few more pounds back, and get those. No, it's awesome. It's great. It's great to talk about. I've told a few friends and family members, and they've watched it and they loved it. And it's just yeah, it's awesome. You never know though. Maybe I might blow up one day, and I'm just kidding. I'll blow up.
Well, that's one of my final questions is, what are the next steps? You know, how might you encourage other young people who are curious about their own neighborhoods, or feel like they are compelled by something but haven't yet taken the action? What are the next steps to take?
I personally tell them to, you know, go to a camp with me, or, you know, sign up for a camp themselves to, you know, see what nature's like, and what, you know, things, because, you know, it's always interesting because, you know, at every camp there's, you know, unique things to do with nature, because when someone thinks of camping, they always think outside in the tent, and, you know, bears and hogs can come and attack you. But, you know, different camps do different things, and, you know, basically what I'm trying to say is, you could either take a 20-minute walk and, you know, go outside, be safe though, go outside with a mask, you know, see the wilderness, go on a trail, or you could go to a camp over the summer or during a break and, you know, experience nature that way.
I agree with Kourtez. I definitely think that I would do the same as well. especially like with regarding to the pandemic and all, I would definitely tell them to go somewhere more nearby, such as the beach or just a local park with, you know, a lot of trees and all, and just look around and appreciate it more. Because there's a lot of places that people don't know about. So I definitely would take a lot of my friends to these certain places, such as nature reserves and all that. So I definitely think that that's the next step. Of course, with regard to the pandemic, you can't really go to certain places, but you know, nature is all around us. So
Yeah, like to what Kiana's saying right there is I try to make little films like every day. I got myself a GoPro a bit back, and like I've been making little films, and it's like how much fun you can have outside just in the ordinaire. I feel like isn't as like done as much anymore. Nobody really, like I said, I skateboard. I don't really see as many people out there, but it's like it's right there. Like, you know, the best time. I've some of my best days are like like even just by myself. I go to Okahili Park, 10 minutes away. It's not like I'm in the middle of the wilderness and just roll down some hills, and it's like, and you see all that nature and you're like, wow, this is beautiful, and like helps you connect, and trying to make little films and encourage other people to like remember those moments, because it's like and like spread the word of what you can do out in nature, and like how important it is to protect it. And it's just like it's very I find it kind of it's a scary thought, the environment, and how sometimes we kind of take stuff for granted. And it's like it's almost like when I'm out in nature, sometimes I'm like oh well, this could be gone one day. Like what if you know we don't make the right decision, this could be gone one day. Like how lucky I am to be in it. It makes me feel this feeling to do something towards that and help inform more people about what we have around us and why we need to protect it and why we're a part of it, you know. So I encourage anyone to make little films or anything for themselves or for other people. I love seeing anything about it.
Well, Neil, I know that's a huge part of what Days Edge works on. What's next for you and Nate?
We're working on a natural history special that's filmed right here in Miami right now. So it's going to be for the Smithsonian Channel, probably out later this year. And it's kind of a fresh take on a wildlife documentary where all the filming is done right here in the city. And we're filming creatures from all over the world who have chosen to make their homes in Miami, much like people from all over the world have chosen to make their homes here. So we think it'll be sort of a fun biological melting pot that we're able to showcase in this next project.
Excellent. Well, we so look forward to getting our hands on it whenever it's ready for the festival circuit.
Yeah, I hope so. And I don't know if there's room for this, but I would love to just do one little shout out, which is to, you know, we were so inspired in the whole conceptualization of this film by Carlton Ward and the team at Grizzly Creek Films, who have done so many great expedition films in Florida with the Florida Wildlife Corridor. And when Palm Beach County ERM came to us, they specifically said, you know, have you ever seen The Last Green Thread? Have you ever seen, you know, some of these other great films? And you know, can we do something like that, except all in Palm Beach County and featuring local teenagers? And I thought, you know, that sounds a little crazy, but I think we can do something like that. And so it was very much informed by some of the amazing work and expedition films and conservation work that had already been done in Florida by these other teams who we're lucky enough to count as friends as well. So big shout out to those guys. I know some of those films have probably been featured in the Environmental Film Festival in DC as well. So maybe your audience is familiar with them too. But if they aren't familiar, they should definitely check them out. There's some fantastic conservation storytelling happening in Florida right now.
There absolutely is. Yeah, we've been absolutely spoiled by our alumni, and Grizzly Creek Films is among them. And we're also very happy to welcome all of you to the fold of alumni from the festival. So I want to thank you, Neil, Kiana, Noah, and Kourtez. Thank you all so much for joining us. I know there's no shortage of claims on your time these days. For our audience, please continue to stay with us. We've got no shortage of films to watch, stories to tell, messages to share, and conversations to have. Again, for any updates on films or panels or discussions, you can always go to our website at dceff.org. Enjoy the festival.
Thanks, Monica.
Thank you, guys.